around the world continue to struggle to get up to speed. So look at the case of Shanghai, where a city of 25 million people is locked down tight. This image is absolutely stunning. It shows the number of ships waiting to get into port today. And now official data indicates only 222 container ships are waiting to dock, but this looks like a heck of a lot more than that. But consider at our peak of our shipping crisis here on the West Coast, about 110 container ships were waiting to dock. It will only be a matter of time until we feel the Shanghai lockdowns here. Shanghai is the world's factory. Employees are confined to their homes. We're about to see a huge backup of things like cell phones and automobiles. This will cause even higher global inflation and a supply shock like the likes that we haven't seen yet. So if I had my tinfoil hat on right now, I might say this doesn't smell right, and it's almost as if these shutdowns were targeted towards the West. But hey, I'll leave that for another show. To help us with this show, though, is Rebecca Walser from Walser Wealth. Thanks for joining the show, Rebecca. This is pretty odd. It doesn't smell right to me, and I think other folks have said the same thing. I brought it up even last week, but when things don't make sense, they don't make sense.
They don't. And, I don't even have TikTok, but I cannot tell you how many TikTok videos have been posted to all other social media channels in Shanghai for the lockdowns. And there's this one that was just a tearjerker. This man is literally screaming. He says he doesn't care about the CCP. They can come get him, that his parents have been locked for 2 weeks. What are they supposed to eat? His grandmother has no one to help. What is she supposed to drink? He's been locked up because he basically is pacing back and forth outside the video saying, you guys are leaving us to die. So something is happening over in China, and we are not getting the truth out, Scott. Something is going on, and we all need to be alert. But this is coming to America, not necessarily the lockdowns, let's pray, but the shortages. I, have listened to a global shipping expert who's done the marine tracker that you're looking at right there. The red ones are not the orange ones, but the red ones are the oil tankers and the green ones are the cargo ships. And they're saying that this is going to be in 2 to 3 weeks at our stores, that we are going to see empty shelves, and that those things that are empty are going to take anywhere from 2 to 6 months, Scott, to return to normalcy. So Americans need to hear this message, and they need to prepare, because they are not taking this seriously. They think, oh, it's okay. They're conflating inflation with the supply chain problem, with the food problem that we're having, which are 3 separate and distinctive problems, Scott.
Well, we just had some breaking news, too, about travel, now that you're talking about it. We had a judge that looks like he's vacated the mask mandate on airplanes. So maybe that.
Wonderful. I'm traveling tomorrow to Vegas. I would love not to wear a mask for the first time in 2 years. That would be awesome. Good news.
While you were talking, I had to get that in there, but I just wanted to make sure. But back to what you were talking about also, though, this is a pretty serious situation, and not that we're going to say anything is going to collapse per se in the U.S. There are some things that maybe get a little bit more, sought after than others.
Let's just talk about, we have 4 main things that are going on. So this is a supply chain problem. This is partially a result, and I think mostly a result of China's unrational, totally just not viable zero COVID policy. So that's the problem here. Shipping's not coming into the ports because they're shutting the ports down. So we can't get the ships to be loaded and then back out to us if the ships are shut down. So that's a China COVID zero policy. Something strange going on there. Need to look at that. Then we have the bird flu over here. We've culled millions of turkeys and chickens in America. That is going to affect our meat supply. That is a separate thing. That is the bird flu. Then we have the price increases of fertilizer affecting our food supply in America. We have a lot of farmers switching from corn to soybeans. That is going to affect all kinds of food supply issues. And of course, Russia, fertilizer, and being one of the bread baskets of the world. And then finally, we have the geopolitical issues between Russia, Ukraine, and now potentially some other countries that seem to be wanting to go to war as well. So we have all 4 of these things happening under this administration, which doesn't seem to be able to deal with any one of them effectively, let alone the 4 of them. The combination together is a 1, 2, 3, 4 punch. And it is a big problem that this administration needs to get on top of, that the world needs to get on top of. This is a global issue.
And the reason why we saved this block for this Shanghai shutdown was, number one, I did see one TikTok, Rebecca, where folks were screaming off their balconies at night. Now, it was haunting. My wife couldn't believe what she was hearing. About they were being starved to death. They had no more medicine. They had no more water. That just doesn't make sense, even if you're Xi Jinping. But that one we'll probably have to save for another show. But This is where we ignited our own inflation problem here, is with supply chain problems. And this is the mother of all supply chain problems from a city of 25 million people. And as we put in, the producer put in the monologue, this is where we make everything. I mean, this is the factory for the world. So what could be coming down the river, not just when it comes to wholesale prices, because we've got those coming down in this country, but what could be coming down the river if that's going to be the case in Shanghai?
Well, Scott, ever since you started your show, I feel like I'm Debbie Downer, and I'm usually positive, Nancy. So this really bothers me. But I will say, we are facing hyperinflation, Scott. We are. If we look at the food prices and the energy prices, they're already in hyperinflation territory. This is why the government pulled them out of core CPI, so that when they, manage core CPI, they don't have to worry about the volatility in food and energy. But we really, truly are already, when you include those categories, into a hyperinflationary environment. And that is the problem in and of itself. It's not just that you can if you're afraid of the markets and you move to cash, now you have to worry about what your cash is in, because we're losing purchasing parity as we speak with money just sitting in the bank. So normally where I'd like a 12-month reserve, I'd pull back the reserves to 6 months and I'd invest the difference into some kind of commodity that we feel like has a solid future, because right now the markets are volatile all around. So, we just want to be safe and we want to be prepared, and we don't want this to be a shock.
Right.
This is going to be a shock to a lot of people.
And I'll end it on this. It's not just our problem. It's everybody's got this problem too. So whatever we may think we can do here to help us here, a lot of times that gets dissipated when we look at the global market too. So it's going to be a big deal, and it's going to be with us for a while. I really appreciate you coming on. Rebecca Walser coming to us from Tampa, Florida. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Awesome stuff. All right.